Few weeks ago I saw this awesome tutorial from Decoded where he recreated the scene of Jurassic Park. But he said that he was having trouble, well, and he showed us that he was having trouble simulating the cables. And I was thinking, I may have better way to do it. So I wanted to show you my solution to the cable simulation. What you see here is just a rigid body simulation. Let's jump into the frame 300. And then let's see their simulation. Oh, we see this is the animated block going through the cable and snapping on half. So this is beautiful. But there are some things that can be improved. Maybe the cables are moving too crazy when they snap. But there are some things that I really like. For example, this section here, the tension of this cable react to what is happening here, and the posts, they rock as the cable have been stressed and snapped. And that was everything achieved using rigid body simulation. So I wanted to show you how to create something like this. And this is the final result of today's tutorial. Awesome. Isn't it beautiful? I love it. We jump to our brand new Blender scene. Let's get rid of everything. Let's go to the front view. Start making the post, which is just a cube with Z and Y 2.2 and Z to 5.5. Let's move it somewhere around here. Let's duplicate it for the other post, and let's add the section for the cable where I already did that before. We can make it 0.6 and 0.06 for Y and X. Move it around here, go to the modifier property, zoom in a little bit, add an array modifier, let's make it 16 and the factor X 2.9. We will see that why later. Maybe instead of 16, 17. Yeah, that looks good. Symmetry is beauty. Now we apply this modifier, Control A, go to edit mode, press P to separate all the loose part. Now let's get out from edit mode, right click, set origin to center of mass. Now let's select all our bodies, go to rigid body and add active to all of them. For the pose, I like them to be, if we go to the physics property tab, I like them to be animated. So if we press Alt and then click, both will get the same property. For the section of the cables, I would like it to be lighter. So the same, Alt click, now 0.01. Let's change compact hole to box. That will help a little bit the calculation for the simulation. What we can do now is to add the connections, rigid body, connect. Here, from this menu, we are going to change the type instead of fixed to point. And here we can change it to chain by distance. Now, all our sections are connected. Let's put it more in the middle, somewhere around here. If we want to connect the first section to the pose, we can just duplicate this one, go to the physics property tab, let's remove all the bodies and let's make it again. The same here, duplicate, get rid of these bodies and select the bodies that we want. Now we can add a cube for testing. Let's change the size, maybe 2.7. Yeah, that's good. rigid body. Let's make it heavier, 10 kilograms. Let's move it up. And let's run the simulation. Whoa, beautiful. There are some things that we should do every time that we are doing a rigid body simulation, is to make sure that all our bodies, the scale is set to 1. Well, what I mean is go Ctrl A and apply a scale. Now all the bodies, they have a scale set to 1. That will reduce the amount of mistakes or errors or craziness in the simulation. And it will make it look better. Maybe. So now we want it to break. Let's say that we want it to break right in the middle. We can select this connection. Select this connection and check breakable property and lower the threshold to 1 and see what is happening. It didn't break. We can do two things. We can lower the threshold more, or I would prefer to increase the solvers for the simulation, for the interaction and the sub-steps. We can make it 20. That will improve the simulation, and it makes the connection more rigid. Notice how the cable doesn't go down much, and that's because each connection is more rigid. And see how now they snap. And we can see that we can improve some things as well here. Maybe the cable is bouncing too much. Oh, let's hide this first. Let's select our solids. Let's select the first one. Go to the physics tab. In dynamics, let's increase the damping to 0.7. And let's test it. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. Just to make sure that all the bodies have the same property. Yeah, make sure that you are pressing Alt when you are changing these properties. Let's see it again. Okay, one thing that we can improve as well is see how this section of the cable is going through the post. We can fix that by going on hide our connections and uncheck disable collision for the last one and the first one. Disable collisions. So let's hide this again. Let's see the simulation. Yeah, like that looks better. Something that you might want to do now that we test our concept and it works, I want the cable to be snapped exactly in half. So we can go, let's change the middle block to, instead of box, convex hole again. Go to edit mode, a loop in the middle. Let's go to wireframe, press B so that we can separate them. Now P by loose parts. Now we have two bodies for the middle section. We can connect these two, rigid body connect. Let's make sure that it's point, yes. And this one won't be breakable anymore. Let's do breakable, the one in the middle. And let's set the value to 1. Let's see how this one looks. Okay, something went wrong. Let's have a closer look what is happening. If we run the simulation, this is not connected to this object. So that can be solved if we select this connection here and we check what are the objects that are connected. So it's cube 11 and cube 9. This one is cube 11, that's good. This one is cube 20. And this one is cube 9. So we have to change cube 9 for cube 20. Go back to keyframe 1 from view, and let's run the simulation. Yes, better. I think now we are ready to add the cable, the actual shape of the cable. For that, I want the first vertex to be closer to the pose. The last vertex will be the center of mass of this body. And the first vertex have to be like in the left side of the body. So I'm selecting this body, which have the center of mass to the left, duplicating, move it along the x-axis to the left, somewhere around here. Maybe I can move the post a little bit. And doing the same with that one. Moving it somewhere around here. Yeah, that looks good. And I want to select all these solids, change the view in the object property, viewport display. I want to change, instead of texture, I want to change it to wire. So I alt click to change the properties, the value of all the objects at the same time. And I think we are ready for the curve Bezier. Oh, Shift 8, curve Bezier. I wanted the Bezier to be orientated to the view. We can put it anywhere where we want, but I want to put it somewhere here, maybe. All right. Now let's set the vertex point for the curve. So I want the first vertex to be where the first object is. So if we go out of object mode and we shift S, cursor to selected, then we go back to our curve, and then we press selection to cursor. But notice how all the handlers of the vertex, they are in the same spot, but we don't want that. So we click again to select one of the handlers and move them out of the same point, if you know what I mean, I hope. So we do the same here. Cursor to selected, go to edit mode for the curve, selection to cursor, click again to select one of the handlers and move. Now we can move this one. They should be roughly at the same distance. Oh, now we want to divide this section and make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertex. So we right click, subdivide 8. And what is the most tedious part of this approach is to hook every single vertex to the body. So what I'm doing now is just putting the vertex roughly at the center of mass of the body of the cable section. And now we go to the first one. We go to our outliner here. Press in the cube 20. Control, it might be different in your model, but now we press Control H. Hook to selected object. We go to the next vertex. This one, it was 10 or no, 11. Yes. See, if it's better when the vertex is closer to the center of gravity of the body. So Control H, hook to selected object. Now we go to the next one. hook to selected object. Now we go to the next one. We keep doing that until all the vertex are hooked to the solids. Let's move this one a little bit to the left. Hook. And finally, this one. Hook. We have, so let's double check, or let's make it closer to the center of gravity of each section. Right. To get out of edit mode, let's do the same for the left. We can start from scratch, or we can just duplicate this curve, go to the modifier tab, delete all the hooks, and then move this one to the left. Yes, somewhere around here. That will do the trick. Make sure that this one is right there. And then we do the same in edit mode with this curve. This one was 21. Control H. Hook to selected. This one I think was number 3, 2. Hook to selected. Same. Hook to selected. This might be a good time for cracking a joke. If I have one. That could be a joke. No? Okay, now. It's almost there. We're finishing. Whoop. That one. Yes. Good. Good. Alright. We're almost there. Let's get out of edit mode. Let's select our Bezier curve. Let's go to the curve property. And here in geometry, let's change the depth to, I think, 0.02. 0.02 is good. Let's do the same for this one, 0.02. So match the diameter of the curve to the solid, so they can be a little bit bigger. It's not that it's gonna be much different one side to the other one. And let's test our simulation. By the way, not if that is gonna happen, the Blender might crash. And if you forgot to save, don't worry about it. Just go to File, Recover, Autosave, and the latest, if you go organize this by date modify, the latest file that you see here must be your salvation. So if you click here, you will open the latest file, the later file of your work that Blender saves automatically. So let's run the simulation. It's good to save before you run the simulation. I haven't saved this file at all, but I'm sure it's gonna work. Oops. It didn't work. So let's open Blender. File, Recover, Autosave. Not sure if it's this one. No, it's not this one. Autosave. Yes. Now we are back in business. Whoa. Yeah. I know what is happening. But this looks nice. Our cable is working. That's good. But what I forgot to do is, let's hide our curve, is to to connect this to the post. So this connection this body, they should be connected to one another. This one, which is the one that the connection from the pod, let's put this one a little bit further away. And let's put this connection right there. But let's change the body what it's connected to. So if we see the number of this one is 22, this one is 18. So what we have to do is to get rid of 18 and select 22. The same here. This should move right there. Can move this one a little bit further. Here, this one is called 21. So let's get rid of 2 and put the 21. And these two have to be connected. So we go here, rigid body, connect. These two the same, these two bodies, connect, rigid body. Okay, let's see the simulation. Okay, something is wrong. See, these one are like not connected, but they are connected. So you can do two things. You can just lower the threshold here, but I would prefer increasing the calculation steps to 30. Now that one breaks as we wanted, and this one is not acting weirdly. And yeah, it looks alright. It looks fine. Something that I like to do is to get all the empties in one collection. Call it empties. Very original name. And then here we can just hide the empties. Let's hide the basic core for the moment because I want to select this one and put it in another collection, a new collection called maybe solids. And let's hide the solids, unhide our cables, and let's see how they look when they snap. Yeah, that looks fine. It looks beautiful. There is something weird there, but something that can be checked later. You might want the cable to be more stiff. Like instead of being able to bend that much, we can change the connections to, instead of point, this one is a little bit more advanced connection. Hey, that one is fixed. There's a mistake here. Fix. That's why it was acting weirdly, maybe. Alright, doesn't matter. We go there. Alt click. Generic. Now, what we want here? We want the connection to have freedom in any rotation, but we don't want the connection to have freedom in the X, Y, Z. We want essentially like a point connection. For that, we have to put limits in the connection. In X, Y, Z connection, we have to put limits to 0 so that they don't move at all. By the way, I'm just clicking and dragging down to change all the values at the same time. And for X, Y, we want freedom, but not too much freedom. We want some sort of restriction. So let's click here and let's put the restriction that we want. Let's say that we want 15. The first value or the last value have to be negative to give it a range of value from -15 to 15. And if we hide our empties, we run the simulation to see what happened, and that one went wrong. Let's see what is the problem. The problem was that I didn't press Alt when I was changing the values. So let's grab any other, press Alt, remember Alt for click, 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 keep pressing Alt, and then 0. Same here, Alt, keep pressing Alt, and then 15, Alt again, minus, Alt click, minus, Alt click, and then minus. Now all of them should have the same value. That's good. Let's hide this here better, and let's see what happened. See, now we have like some sort of cable made out of steel. Have more rigidity. It was hard, and it looks good. So this is basically how I did the simulation. What you can do, the next step for you now is unhide everything. You can simply select all these, unselect the other ones, select all these and duplicate. It should have all the connection, all the properties the same. We hide the rest that we don't want to see and run the simulation. Ah, beautiful. If you think that the cable maybe they are too stiff, that they should bend more, what you can do is just go to empties, to your collection and select objects, and then we increase the range of movement by maybe 45. So remember, Alt click, minus, Alt click minus, and let's hide the empties. Run the simulation. Boom, boom, boom. That looks nice. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Now we can do is add a floor, scaling Z, and then scaling X, scaling Y a little bit. Let's make this one rigid. This one's gonna be passive. Let's apply the scale, and now I want to connect the post to the floor with a fixed connection. Rigid body, connect, fix. Fix, that's what I want. Let's go to wireframe and put it roughly in the base of that. Do the same here. Rigid body, connect, move to the base, fix. Good. This is gonna be passive, yeah. Now uncheck animated for the post. Let's get out of wireframe and see what happened. Yes, good. But what I wanted to show you is how the post can rock when the cables are tensioned. For that, we select our connection, go to override iterations. Here, if we decrease this connection is gonna be more some sort of flexible. So if we change it to 1, and this one we do the same, change it to 1, and run the simulation. See? Isn't it beautiful? See how the post react to the tension of the cable. I can do this the whole day. And well, I think this is everything that I can show you about my file. But if we go back to the original file, I wanted to show you more in detail about this scene. What you see essentially here is a longer curve and more set of solids. So the amount is the same. Here at the middle I have around 18, so 9 for this section and 18 for this section. And then what you do is just make a longer Bezier curve, and this connection here is the same that we did before during the tutorial. And here what I have done is to add basic solids like a square, make sure that they are in box, and then put fixed connections to the post. You could do everything like in one piece. You can model everything, and instead of using box or convex hull, you use mesh. But I found that if you use simple primitive, the calculation's gonna run faster. And believe me, when you have this amount of connections in solids, it might take a while. So keep it simple. And the animation of this is just a simple animation, the same approach to animate everything. What I did here is that these are convex hull, 3 objects. They have the same origin, because if I want to rotate them, they rotate from the same pivot point. And these are just active box, which have a fixed connection to the bodies that are animated. So these are not animated, these 3 are animated. And you can see here the keyframes here that they go to the frame 300 to the 350 up here, and then it turns and opens this mouth, and then it goes down to the bottom, closes its mouth, and then goes up. Something that you would like to tweak, that sometimes, depending on the threshold of the breaking empty, the cable might end up stretching too much to the end. So you can play with that so that they snap when you want. Or that's something else, that you can make them snap exactly in the frame that you want. When you select, let's do it here. Let's see this animation again. So let's say that I don't want the first one to break too soon. Simply go to the empty that isn't snapping. You can play with the threshold, or you can add a keyframe in the box of the breakable. You can put this to 001. That will break with no force at all. But if that is unchecked, it won't break. But if you add a keyframe, and you put this keyframe, let's say here, and then when it's gonna break, this is the breakable keyframe. You can put it here, just in the frame 50. And then if you run your simulation, let's see what happens. See, the cube couldn't go through the cable, and it didn't snap, but it snapped here because of its own tension at the frame 50, as we set it up. And well, I think that's it for me. Let me know, what do you think? Do you want to see more tutorials about rigid body? It's amazing everything that you can do. Just to give you a taste for what you can do with rigid body simulations in Blender, see this beautiful simulation. If you want to do something like this, let me know. It was a lot of trial and error, but I think it looks awesome. there is no script here. There are some drivers, but just for the static simulation, like those things on the bottom, how you call it, the leaf shock absorber, and the steering wheel is linked to the steering system. But yeah, if you want to do something like that, and you want to learn to do something like that, let me know, and maybe I can do a tutorial.